Columbus Crew just lost 2-1 to the Red Bulls despite having 63% possession, and the Red Bulls somehow outshot them 15-4. And they looked really boring, so how'd that happen? Well, just starting with how they lined up, the Red Bulls lined up in a 4-2-3-1, classic narrow, classic Red Bull formation. Columbus Crew lining up in the 3-4-3 they've been using this season, although they were missing their number 9, Joe Hernandez, who has been very important for them this season. So they moved guy normally here, Matan, into the striker position and took Yeboah, who normally plays outside left wing back, and moved him into the right wing. So just starting off, Columbus, players not in their natural position, and it showed through their possession play. They weren't quite natural, but that doesn't explain the whole game. So let's look at how the Red Bulls were defending and attacking with their 37% possession. They were setting up very solidly. They don't quite have the talent to be able to play an expensive game. That's a whole separate issue. So they're set up to be effective, is the best way to put it. Not concede a lot of chances and to make the best chances they can make. So how do they do that? So it's a mixture of pressing and forcing Columbus inside. But unlike the Red Bull teams of the past, the pressing's different. It's not all heavy metal pressing at every opportunity. There's a specific trigger, and that trigger was when the ball was played to either of the outside center backs. If the ball is here, they sat off, let Columbus do whatever, but when the ball was sent over here, Red Bulls striker Burke came over, they shifted, and they pressed here and tried to win the ball. But they weren't just trying to win the ball, they were trying to force Columbus inside where they had a huge numbers advantage because of their narrow formation. So what did that look like in the game? This is an example of Morris, who they pushed from around this formation into the center, and you can see the Rebels have a huge number superiority here. They have 5 to Columbus's 3, and they're able to win the ball back and push forward in the middle. So what happens when the Red Bulls do win the ball? How do they attack? Well, there were 2 different avenues to their attack. One was when they won the ball in the narrow formation, and what happened there was when they won the ball, say they win it off Nagby because he doesn't have any support in the center, you could just see how they were lining up. With this, they're always going to be outnumbered. So they would win the ball and just try to send it through to Burke. And this would usually be, maybe center back would be over there, it would always be outnumbered. It'd be a 1v2, or maybe if Ruquinhas was able to make it up, the center back would be back, a 2v3, or even sometimes it was a 3v4. But the point is that the Rebels wouldn't commit numbers forward, so it was relying on this player to make something special out of it. And that's why it ended up being they would drive back, Red Bulls would drive a little forward, but they would have a number disadvantage. They would end up taking a shot, it'd be blocked, or it'd be a poor quality chance. So that's why they ended up having 15 shots, but only 4 on target. And we can look at an example of when this happened was for the Red Bulls' first goal. So you can see here where they win the ball, they're not in the center per se, but this is where everyone is. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players out of 10 all on this side. So the only avenue is just straight in. And you see, that's what happens. You have Burke. Again, you can see that they are outnumbered here, 4-3. But with some great dribbling, Burke is able to drag these center backs over, which after the shot is taken, which really you have to say he should be saving this, but the ball is rebounded out here to Ruquinhas, who can finish quite easily. But that only happens because Burke has great play. And normally, you can't really rely on these Red Bulls players to do that. Maybe Dante, when he becomes more familiar with the team in the league, he'll be able to produce that. Maybe that's why they brought him in. But the Red Bulls are really just not committing too much forward. They want to try to create chances, but really not concede. The Red Bulls are looking to get a clean sheet. And the only reason they didn't this game was a lot of individual mistakes from Reyes and, of course, Cornell being in no man's land. So the second thing that would happen is the Red Bulls would be maybe a little more open, and it wouldn't be them winning the ball as a result of their planned press into the narrow areas. It would be Columbus maybe just making a mistake and giving the ball away, and this is what happened in the second goal. But anyway, the second option would be the Red Bulls winning the ball in this sort of area, and they're all spread out, which means they have other options. And this is when they look to send the ball wide and get, again, they're not committing too many people forward, but they're looking to get these forwards crashing into the box and trying to find an opportunity that way. And this is when the second goal happens. Columbus is unable to clear their lines effectively, and Tolkien sends in a great ball for Dante, and it's just great individual play there. He's left open at the back post, and he's able to finish it off. But even there, they're not committing too many numbers forward. It's just good individual play that gets the goal. Even though the Red Bulls set up well, they've still not played great this season or in the past, so why weren't Columbus able to take advantage of that? Because they played simply too slow. There were opportunities where Red Bulls were open, or they would have a numbers advantage, say on this side, but by the time that they had swung it around, the Red Bulls were able to shift all the way over and close out the opportunity. And then the overload would be on this side, and the same thing. Instead of just switching the ball quickly out here and getting a quick 1-2 inside, they wouldn't do that. However, in the end of the game, you did see them doing this, where Matan had a great opportunity in the last 10-15 minutes. They made a couple of great opportunities this way when they did play a little bit faster. But for the most of the game, they were playing too slow. This was probably a result of players not playing where they're used to. Maybe they're used to Chucho Hernandez making certain runs. Maybe Matan doesn't make those kind of runs. And Yeboah, obviously in a completely different position than he's used to, not making the same forward runs that they've been used to. And that, along with playing too slow, meant that they couldn't break the Red Bulls down, and the Red Bulls were just able to make a bunch of low-quality chances, and eventually a couple went in. In the end, a great result for the Red Bulls. I don't think it reflects that well on their playing style. They definitely need to do more to improve throughout the season. Maybe not even playing less boring, but getting some players who can have the flair to come up with these individual moments more frequently. Otherwise, they're going to continue struggling to score. For Columbus, not a great outing, but again, with the positional issues, it isn't necessarily a systemic problem. They just have to bounce out, see what they did wrong, and try to fix it for next time.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our second edition of our tactical discussion of the MLS. Thank you, Kyle, again for a brilliant discussion. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe and maybe even comment. Or you can not do that if you don't want. Obviously, it's up to you. Thanks again for tuning in, and hope you have a great day.